They're hoarding all of it, you understand? But you got to pay it back in taxes, and you get none of it. The Fed is planning moves that would more than double its balance sheet assets by September by $4.5 trillion from $1.9 trillion, whether expressing approval or concern over the Fed's intentions. Most commentators fail to understand the real magnitude of the projected expansion of the U.S. monetary base because they don't take into account the amount of dollars circulating abroad. In U.S. monetary base, there's the M1, M2, M3 money supply. This 15-fold increase will be impossible to reverse. Next September, when the Fed realizes it's gone too far, they know that, and tries to reverse its balance sheet's expansion, it will be unable to do so. The realities which will hinder the Fed's control of the money supply are at least 70% of all U.S. currency is held outside the country. That's right. And when it starts coming back into the United States, that's Weimar Republic. And the world's already dumping dollars. The dollar plunged by 10% last week. That's why the Federal Reserve had to come in and buy U.S. notes, because nobody else would buy it. And it just goes on and on. But I tell you, this article out of Rolling Stone tells it like it is. The big takeover. I got a film called Police State 2, The Takeover. The globalist economic crisis isn't about money, it's about power. How Wall Street insiders are using the bailout to stage a revolution. And when you read the Trilateral Commission, Rand Corporation, CFR, they publicly bragged their engineering and economic collapse to bring in a one-world currency and a bank of the world that will rule every country on earth. You want sources on that? London Telegraph this week, Financial Times of London this week, Newsweek again. I mean, I've got the new articles this week where they admit it, but this is not on U.S. TV. It's in some of the financial publications, and you talk about it. I mean, you read the London Telegraph on air, you get put in the police database, because the police documents, the MIAC report and others that, again, Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Fox News, CNN, all covered it this week, that we broke a week and a half ago. And they say, if you believe the banks are corrupt, you believe they're running a scam, you believe a new world order exists, you believe there's going to be a new global currency, you are a cop-killing terrorist. And Ron Paul and Bob Barr and others that are listed in there are considering legal action. We broke that, on Thursday on the show that they're doing that. And then the governor of Missouri came out and said, I back the feds on this, put out by our state police, that the feds wrote. So that's the news there. Let me go ahead and get in to the MIAC report news. Again, just type MIAC report, and you can read all the AP and Reuters stories about it. It literally, I was sent the 9-page report by 2 separate state police officers in 2 different states. It's gone out everywhere under governor's letterhead, but the feds wrote it. And it says people that are pro-Second Amendment, cop-killing terrorist. I mean, it just demonizes anybody that, if you believe in the North American Union, cop-killing terrorist. But the police have woken up to this, and they've read it all in the mainstream news, and they go, wait a minute, people are crazy if they talk about this? They're dangerous if they talk about it? It's not working. Now, on the heels of that, we've gotten a Army document, and I've gotten these before, but never one that I'm in, where all over the country, they've announced in mainstream news, suddenly fusion centers, and they're putting regular Army and every major police department as liaisons. And, oh, the Army's out at the mass shooting, or they're out at the DWI checkpoint outside the base searching citizens. And it's all a violation of federal law, but they're getting everybody ready for martial law. If we expose it, they may back off. The point is, everything we warned you about is now happening. Kurt Nemo wrote the story for Infowars.com. Army dispatched in response to end the Fed protest. This broke yesterday. This is first time on radio. It's up on Infowars.com. Another world exclusive here. Thanks to the folks at the Libertarian Restoration Project who originally got the documents. The Liberty Restoration Project blog has posted an advisory released last November by the United States Army Reserve, which is now totally federal. It's under NORTHCOM. The United States Army Reserve Command is publishing the Force Protection Advisory to advise all Army Reserve personnel of the planned protest at all Federal Reserve banks, but it's a private bank, and office locations within the United States on November 23, 2008. The document reads, the message provides situation awareness and recommendation mitigation measures. And then it goes into how to fight terrorists. And who are we? Well, Ron Paul went and spoke at one. I was there with Ron Paul's brother and led the deal with about 300 people in Dallas. It's in my film, The Obama Deception. And state police being there spying on us, and Dallas police is one thing, bullhorning the Federal Reserve, but the Army was there. The Army fights a foreign enemy. They kill things and break things. This is classic tyranny. And in the Army's report, you can go read, it says that, we believe the Federal Reserve is private and we believe it's corrupt and that basically we're terrorists that are dangerous because we're protesting it. It's our First Amendment right where they're pointing out who's taken over the country, who's looting us, who's robbing us, and our own military is to be used against us, spying on us in plain clothes. According to the Army Reserve, the folks gathered and exercising the First Amendment response to the Federal Reserve loan sharking operation are essentially terrorists. The Army, quote, established relationships with local law enforcement and FBI and encouraged them to update alert rosters. According to the document, 2003, Jim Gamerman, writing for American Free Press Service, noted that the Northern Command cooperates with other unified commands and shares intelligence with them. And it goes on when we come back, and then your phone calls. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. I mean, think about it. Imagine I'm a radio talk show host. We have rallies with Ron Paul and Ron Paul's brother, a congressman. We go to Dallas. We protest the private Federal Reserve. We do it at 37 other locations around the country. And the Army is running around putting out reports like the Mayak report that the feds wrote saying, Ron Paul sticker on your car, probably a terrorist. Almanac in your car, road almanac, can't have a map. That's terrorism. I have the one the feds put out that the Texas State Police says cell phones, blue jeans, being nice to police. All these reports say community service. We're probably terrorists. Now, again, the entire apparatus, you were told in anti-terror, was to fight al-Qaeda, this imaginary CIA creation. And now they're swinging the whole thing around. The Patriot Act was written for the American people. All of it was. The Military Commissions Act, where citizens can be secretly grabbed, secretly held, secretly tried in kangaroo court, secretly executed. This is what our criminal government does all over the world. The bankers running things that run this nation have bankrupted hundreds of third world countries the same way. They take them over. That's why third world countries have troops on the streets, because they bankrupt everything to get control. And this particular report we got, secret report, was in the state of Texas, but said it was going on all over the country, where they go and meet with the police and the FBI and others, and they all hype up how we're a bunch of terrorists because we dare go out and instead of protesting the puppet Bush or the puppet Obama, these nobodies, these front men, these Madison Avenue pitch men, we go directly. Did you pull up the Senator clip where he's asking Bernanke, Senator Sanders? Yeah, let's go ahead and play. I guess he's a terrorist, too. The senator dared ask the private Federal Reserve chairman, where's the $2 trillion? And that's just, from months ago. It's now $9.7 trillion. He says, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to let you know. He says, well, it's on our website. And he says, no, it's not. And he goes, well, I'm not going to tell you. I mean, how dare the Congress? How dare Ron Paul? How dare senators? How dare them ask the private Federal Reserve what it's doing? How dare the American people go out and protest? That's terrorism. The First Amendment's evil. And they demonize pocket constitutions, everything in these documents. They say if somebody talks about the Constitution, makes frequent references to it, they want to kill cops. But they claim they're friendly to police and want to work with them. Yeah, we want to take our government back. Police are losing their future, too. We have criminals running the government, so they're brainwashing the police and military that the patriots that know who the enemy is and who are peaceably exposing them, that we're somehow criminals. Well, I guess here's another one of the terrorists, then a senator, asking the private Federal Reserve head where the trillions are.
Talked about with regard to the $2.2 trillion that the Fed has lent out. Now, I find it absolutely extraordinary that I wrote you a letter and I said, hey, who'd you lend the money to? What were the terms of those loans? How can my constituents in Vermont get some of that money? Who makes the decisions? You guys sit around in a room. Do you make it? Are there conflicts of interest? So my question to you is, will you tell the American people to whom you lent $2.2 trillion of their dollars. Will you tell us who got that money and what the terms are of those agreements?
We explain each of our programs. In terms of the terms, we explain the terms exactly.
Why?
We explain what the collateral requirements are. We explain what.
To whom did you explain that?
It's on our website.
Yeah. Okay.
So all that information is available in our commercial paper program.
And who got the money?
Hundreds and hundreds of banks. Any bank or that has access to the U.S. Federal Reserve's discount.
Can you tell us who they are?
No, because the reason that it's counterproductive and will destroy the value of the program is that banks will not come to this.
Isn't that too bad?
Sorry?
In other words, isn't that too bad? They took the money, but they don't want to be public about the fact that they received it. We heard a whole lot about AIG. They're on the front pages.
These are very.
Now, I got banks and I have businesses in the state of Vermont who are in a lot of trouble. Not banks. Our banks, by the way, are doing pretty well. Now, how do these guys who are honest business people get it? Do you have to be a large, greedy, reckless financial institution to apply for these money?